some of you may have a handful of questions.
I have a few.
Yeah, well, I'm not answering your questions.
Yeah, where did the other review go?
Okay, so, funny story. I decided I hated that review, and so I got rid of it. I made it disappear. It doesn't exist anymore.
You can't just get rid of things. It ruins the plot.
They'll piece it together. It's fine. I don't even use you that often anymore.
I'm gonna be here for this review, right? It's my game after all. I'm gonna torment you the whole time.
Oh, see, but you misunderstand. I now have a secret weapon to keep you away.
What is that?
Huh?
What is that thing on my... Remove the laser. What? Oh no. No. Bad kitty. Kitty, no. Release the cat. Get the cat away. No. Stop it. Stop.
You know what makes me bang my head against the wall and push me till I fall down, baby. The way you wanted it, and oh, I never seem to know which way you wanna go down, baby. And I can't take this anymore. Bang my head against the wall and push me till I fall down, baby. The way you wanted it, and oh, I never seem to know which way you wanna go down, baby.
So, where do I even begin with Sonic R at this point? I mean, most people are already aware of it. It is widely considered by many to be one of the worst, if not the worst Sonic game ever made. But it has a special place to me because it's one of the earliest really bad Sonic reviews I ever did. While I have gotten rid of my more recent Sonic R review, I did find my original Sonic R review, which I actually like better than the newer one. Like, not counting this one, this is the newest one. And hopefully this is the one we stick with, and it's all good. I don't know why. I don't know. It's old, and it's loud, and it's obnoxious, but there's still that charm in it, I guess. I don't know. Also, if you're wondering why this is my Halloween review, the answer is, woo! Spooky, tail-stall, creepypastas. So Sonic R, for those of you who don't know, is a racing game for the Sega Saturn. It also stands uniquely as the only original Sonic game for the console, which is embarrassing, frankly, because, you know, I just feel like the Saturn may have, while not being the greatest console ever made, it definitely deserved better than this. And it's not like Saturn didn't have good games, it just never got a solid original Sonic game. It had Sonic 3D Blast, which you may recognize as a game that was on the Genesis, and the only difference between this version and the Genesis version is that the special stages are different, the music's different, and there's a new intro. But the actual core gameplay is exactly the same, so that's not really, you know, pushing the Saturn in any real way when we just did that on the Genesis. There's also Sonic Jam. Great game, however, Sonic Jam is purely and simply a collection of older Sonic games that were on the Genesis, so that's not really helping. So now we have Sonic R, the only original Sonic game for Sega's new console. And what do we get? We get this. I mean, I know you shouldn't judge a game by the way it looks, but look at it. This is important to me, that you really look at it and recognize the madness on display here. I mean, the Saturn's 3D engine wasn't exactly pushing any boundaries here. It was pretty weak, especially compared to the other two consoles, but I feel like it could have done better than this. And even if that really isn't the problem, I don't like how they modeled the characters. Why does everyone look so jaggedy and polygony? It just... You couldn't... Don't tell me you couldn't draw a curve, or at least make it so the Sonic sprites aren't jutting out in every direction. I don't get it. And maybe there's a charm there, and how hideous, frankly, it looks. And, you know, graphics don't make a game. Let's get back to things. Let's get back to basics. Let's try to examine the game from every angle and see exactly what it has to offer as a game. It's not very good. So again, Sonic R, racing game. So you'd think there'd be a really nice catalog of racers to use within the game, you know, nice choices. I mean, you have, like, Mario Kart always had at least 8. I mean, that was a pretty good roster for the most part. Not, like, super awesome, but pretty decent. It worked. So what do we have here? Well, if you want to get technical about it, there's actually 10 characters to choose from. So already, that's pretty good. Except for the little itsy-bitsy problem that at least 4 of the characters are just alternate versions of other characters. I mean, you have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy. Okay, good. Then you have Eggman. Okay, also good. Metal Sonic. Now, I'll give you Metal Sonic. He's an established villain. So, okay, we'll take that. We won't say anything about that. That's fine. That makes sense. Then we have the Tails doll. And I don't see what is that? I don't understand. What does Eggman have a use for that? I don't see the... I don't understand. I don't understand. And you have Mecha Knuckles. Wonderful. And the Eggman Robo. Okay, so again, these are just metal versions of characters we already had. And then of course there's Super Sonic, which again, I'll give you that it's nice that he's in the game, but I feel like there were other characters, like, were the Chaotix busy? They were already in a game. They were revealed, you could have used them again. I mean, that would have filled up the roster just fine. And not to mention other characters like Ray or Fang or anyone else. But you didn't do that. You just made metal versions of them. I mean, then they have different stats. Okay, I get that, but it's still, these are not very creative ideas, if you're asking my opinion here. But even if I could look past the character roster being kind of gross, I think the bigger problem here is the track roster, which is basically non-existent. There are 5 stages in this game. 5. That's it. There are less stages to race on than there are characters, and I don't think I've ever even seen that before. I mean, feel free to yell at me in the comments, but I feel like, especially in kart racers, generally, there's a wide variety of tracks to choose from with a handful of racers to choose from. I mean, that's prototypical. But here, it's the opposite. There's 5 tracks. That's not good enough. That's just not good enough. That's nowhere near approaching, decent threshold. I would ask only that there maybe be the same amount of tracks as there are racers, but no, it's half. And it's not like they didn't have other options. I mean, you have a back catalog of fantastic Sonic games with a bunch of levels you could have used to make tracks off of. You could have done that. Most of the tracks in this game aren't even directly based off of Sonic levels. In fact, I don't think any of them really are. Everything looks unique, which is fine, but you could have used levels from the games as a base for tracks. Like, you could have just look at them. I mean, Sega does it all the time now, using old levels as new stages, which I wish they'd kind of chill out with that, but I'm saying, like, this is like the one time where that would have been a good idea, and you didn't do it. And you did so badly, you don't even have enough original tracks, so that's good. Thank you for that. So, you may have noticed by now that most of the characters actually aren't in vehicles. For the most part, it's a foot race. Now, I don't really understand why the characters that are in vehicles are allowed to use vehicles if this is a foot race, but I also understand the logic of Sonic running in a foot race. I mean, that's what he does best. He's the fastest thing alive, so you'd think Sonic would have an easy win here. And, maybe Metal Sonic would be able to keep up with him or give him some problems. I get that everybody else can't really hold a candle to Sonic's speed, so I don't really see how anyone feels like they have a chance at all of winning this race. But even if I could look past that, logic, because, okay, it's a racing game, whatever, I'm not gonna get too nitpicky here. The actual controls are awful. The game controls as if you were driving a car. And considering all but 2 characters aren't actually in vehicles, that comes off to me as a bit of a problem. I want you to imagine for a second you're controlling an old school Tomb Raider game, or even an old school Resident Evil game. You know those tank-like controls they had for those characters? You remember how kind of obnoxious that could be, especially in Resident Evil when you're trying to avoid things? I mean, at least in Tomb Raider it was a precise platformer, so it kind of got away with it. Well, imagine those controls, except you're in a racing game. Now you may have a rough idea of why this is just a complete nightmare of a game to play sometimes. And if it was just one track that you stay on and maybe take a shortcut or 2 here and there, it may not be that bad, as weird as it is to control a running, creature, thing, whatever, as if it's a car, you could kind of look past it in that regard. But that's not the way these tracks are set up. These are the most chaotic, nonsense, no-holds-barred tracks I have ever seen in my life. Because you can go anywhere. There's basically no boundaries beyond the actual world boundaries. You could go in any direction. The game doesn't care, and heck, in fact, the games are so chaotic that the game's own programming has trouble sometimes determining what place anybody's in. There's times I've been in first place when I've been told I'm in second. There's times I've seen computer characters in first place when I know for a fact they're behind me. And it's not that they lap me or anything, it's just the game gets confused when you're on different levels or different parts of the track. It has trouble telling where anybody is. And the thing about this is that, again, wouldn't be that bad if the game encouraged you to stay on the track like a normal person. Except no, because they added a collectible, like, exploration element to a racing game, and I don't even understand that at all. Because in order to unlock the secret characters, you have to get all the Sonic tokens in each level. There's tokens to unlock characters in each of the 4 stages that you have at first. There's nothing in the final Radiant Emerald stage that you unlock by getting out the Chaos Emeralds. Speaking of the Chaos Emeralds, operate along the same logic. The only difference with them is I'm pretty sure every single one of them is behind a ring door, usually with a maximum of 50 rings. And yes, there are ring doors. You collect rings, and you have a certain amount of them, and you can open the doors. And sometimes they're a shortcut. Sometimes they take you a long way, usually getting a Chaos Emerald in that direction. But in any event, the point is you gotta go off the track to get the Chaos Emeralds. However, when you collect the Chaos Emerald, the only way you keep the Emerald is to get in first place, which is really, really obnoxious sometimes. It basically makes it you have to play the game multiple times, each stage multiple times, because some stages, in fact, most of them, have more than one emerald in them. And it's pretty hard to be able to collect both the emeralds and get in first place. So generally speaking, you're gonna want to shoot for at least one and then make it for first place. In any event, the point is, this is ridiculous. And it also completely contradicts the already ridiculous plot we're operating with off here. I'll tell you about this plot. So the story of Sonic R is that there's like a World Grand Prix here, and the Chaos Emeralds are like in the race for no reason. I have several questions. Okay, so whose crazy megalomaniac, billionaire grandpa decided it was a good idea to not only apparently possess all the Chaos Emeralds, but scatter them throughout the racetracks? Also, Robotnik's whole thing here is that he's trying to get the emeralds. He doesn't really care much about the race. He's trying to get the emeralds, which just happen to be in the race. Okay, why does he have to join the race in order to steal the emerald? Like, stealing ancient artifacts and using their power to further his plans for world domination is literally 90% of the plans that man comes up with. And this time, though, he says to himself, I could go in and steal the emeralds from the track while the other morons are busy racing. But I think this time I'll join in that race. Dr. Robotnik's going legit. And I know if you want to get technical, he's actually cheating, since literally half the race roster is either just him or a robot that works for him. So he's technically got a lot more eyes on the track than anybody. And how anyone facilitated that robots can enter on their own? I mean, do they have artificial AI? Can they speak for themselves? Do they have free will? Like, I don't get Robotnik's logic, I don't get the racist logic, I don't get the character's logic, because they're like, oh, we have to balance out racing with getting the Chaos Emeralds. And I feel like one of those two things is way, way, way more important than the other. It also brings into the pretense of, how'd you lose the emeralds from last time, Sonic? How many times have we had to go through this? But that's like normal for every Sonic game in the entire series at this point, so that's okay. I'll deal with that part. I just won't deal with the race nonsense thing we got going on here. And I guess you might point out that the plot of a racing game isn't that big a deal, and yes, you're right, but it's still stupid. I guess it is nice that all the characters have different abilities. Sonic can double jump, Tails can fly, Knuckles...
Knuckles, I saw you in that race. You're amazing. Listen, I know that you look a little visually unpleasing in this game, but I want you to know that it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. All that matters is who you are on the inside. Speaking of inside,
Knuckles can glide, so that's the thing. Amy is one of the only characters in a car. Her only real benefit is that the car can fly over water. but she's so slow and clunky that it makes playing as her basically impossible, so the heck with that. Eggman can shoot missiles, which I feel like, this game is basically a kart racer. Why are there no, weapon pickups? I mean, CTR, Crash Bandicoot, and Mario Kart both had those, and I think they actually had them in Sonic Drift on the Game Gear. Why is that not a thing in this game? That's half the fun of a, arcadey kart racer, which, again, this basically is. Why would you only give that to Eggman, implying that he's cheating, that's unfair to hit other racers? I mean, I get that, but, the point of a game like this is to throw all logic out the window and just have fun with it. But you didn't do that. There's only one other character that can shoot, and they can only shoot when they get enough rings, and I don't understand. I don't get it. Metal Sonic is pretty fast. He's actually faster than normal Sonic, technically, which I don't really understand. Also, he can fly over water for a limited amount of time. However, there is a programming bug in the game where if you jump while this is going on, it will actually refresh the timer on falling into the water. So basically, he never has to fall in the water. So that's nice. Tails Doll is weird. Really weird. He doesn't jump like most of the other characters do. He just kind of floats upward and he can fly over the water indefinitely. I don't get it. It's bizarre. Also, his turning is just so bizarre. It doesn't feel like any of the characters. Ugh. Mecha Knuckles is basically Metal Sonic the same, except he can glide too, on top of that weird jumping bug over the water, so that's neat. Eggman Robo is easily the worst character in the game, because although he can shoot like Eggman, he can't jump. At all. At all. And I recognize that neither Amy nor Dr. Robotnik can jump either, but they're in vehicles. Genius over here, Eggman Robo, has legs. And you'd think he'd be able to do something on his vertical axes, but he can't do it. That means that there are certain parts of the level that he cannot traverse at all. Whatsoever. And it doesn't help that at least Amy and Eggman have the benefit of being able to fly over the water indefinitely, because, Amy's car is a transformer and Eggman's in his hovercraft. But Eggman Robo can't do that jumping bug like both Metal Sonic and Mecha Knuckles can, so he just falls into it. He's awful. Super Sonic, by the way, is the best character in the game. I don't think I needed to tell you that. That's probably a given, but yeah, it's pretty hard to lose as Super Sonic, quite frankly. You may have recognized at this point during this review that I have been dancing around a particular issue of the game that many people like to make fun of, and that has to do with the music. The music is Europop. That's its genre. It's sang pretty well, but if you're asking my opinion, I don't think it really fits like a high-caliber racer we got going on here. It's just kind of corny. I guess if you like this kind of music, that's fine. That's okay. That's your taste, and I have heard people that think the music's actually pretty good. And frankly, if you're into Europop, love songs, then yes, this is great music for your taste. However, I stress that this does not get me pumped or amped to go on an epic race with a, punk, counterculture, super cool hedgehog. It feels really inappropriate. I just don't understand. I mean, at least, Sonic Adventure's music went, full rock and roll, and I feel that's way better, but here they didn't really do it that. Again, over time, I feel like the music's gotten legendary status. Many people like it ironically, or just plain like it. Some people say it's awful, which that depends on your point of view, I suppose. It's all about our opinion, everybody. It's okay. However, this is an elephant in the room that I feel need to address. Later. Not now. Let's move on. There's a couple more things to discuss. This game is terrible. I need to stress that. It's hard for me to go with anything else. It's just not fun. But is it not fun? This is a question that's been brought up a couple times. It's a fair point. Because the thing about Sonic R is it kind of enters the Sonic 06 realm where they're both awful, 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 hideous games. However, it can be very funny to play them because of how horribly stupid they are. It enters a sort of so bad it's good kind of realm in that regard. It's not a good game. It will never be Mario Kart or Crash Bandicoot CTR or really any other decent racing game. It's not good on any real account. But it can be really funny. And if you apply that logic to it, suddenly the game doesn't seem so terrible. I mean, I've played it on stream a couple times just for the heck of it because nobody shows up to my streams if I'm playing anything I actually like to play. And frankly, everybody had a good time watching me play that crap, so that's something. In any event, would I recommend this game? No! Oh! Oh, no! Unless you like self-punishment, in which case, go ahead. But again, in a so bad it's good world, it could be worse. It could be Sonic Boom. That's just plain awful. And nobody should ever play it for any length of time, like ever. So there's that. Before I go though, the elephant in the room. One of the reasons I deleted my earlier review of this game from a few years ago is I felt like I was mean. You know, I kind of stamped on other people's opinions, and I don't like doing that. You know, it's not really the kind of person I want to be, and that's why I got rid of it. So, as an apology, for those of you who really did like the music, I will sing a song as I close out this review. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope everyone has a happy Halloween. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. I hope you like, share, and subscribe, and do all that happy stuff that I feel like I shouldn't have to remind people to do, and yet here we are again! It's okay. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's a thing that happens. It's a thing that happens. And you know, sometimes people forget things. Sometimes you go through life and you just like, oh no, I forgot to take the dog out. And as you come home, the dog's really mad at you. You know, and I went to the bathroom on the floor and it's like, you can't even mad at the dog. It's your fault, but it's okay because nobody's perfect. Okay, everybody makes mistakes in their life and you have to remember that. You know, every time you mess up, you have to remember that nobody goes through their entire life never screwing up. And you have to learn to forgive yourself for even the smallest of things, because if you always hold it in and hold those things against yourself, you're going to be miserable. And do you want that? Do you? You want to end up like me? Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.